I have a confession to make. Are you ready? Here goes. I'm not actually vegan. If you're relatively carnivorous yourself, you're probably breathing a deep sigh of relief and muttering under your breath, thank God she isn't one of those people. I know, vegans can be a pain. In fact, the word vegan is often preceded by the word militant. Yes, vegans have a reputation of being an angry bunch. In fact, many people who are watching this and are vegan are probably already getting riled up. So wait, not actually vegan? What does that even mean? Simply put, I used to be vegan and now I'm not. But I try to be. But not too hard. I suppose it isn't really all that simple, is it? Let's all get comfy, shall we? So about 6 years ago, I went cold turkey, puns lighten the mood, right, on eating all meat, poultry, and fish. Like many other curious people, I had watched countless food documentaries, and I had gradually started to feel a slight twinge of guilt while eating my delectable chicken or my turkey bacon sandwich, but it wasn't until I was 17 years old that I watched one documentary that completely flipped my perspective and was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. I went vegetarian overnight. After that first month, I decided that the time was now to go all the way and be completely vegan, cut out dairy and eggs too. This made me, for all intents and purposes, vegan. Now, I do want to point out that I still carried a leather bag. I wasn't buying any animal products, but I did use the ones that I already had. So technically I was plant-based. The trouble was I discovered alternative foods like dairy-free cookies and dairy-free frostings, and so actually I was following a very unhealthy diet. I was eating very few vegetables and lots of processed sugary vegan foods. I felt heavy, sluggish, lethargic, foggy. So back to vegetarianism I went, embracing my Greek yogurt, my butter-filled cookies and cakes, let's be real, with open arms and mouth. Things stayed this way for over a year. I didn't really miss meat. All was well until I got sucked into the black hole that is the YouTube vegan and specifically raw vegan community. I spent the next year as a hardcore, as in never slipped up ever, verging on militant vegan. Much of this time was spent as a high carb, low fat fruit eating machine. I gained weight. I felt lethargic. I watched videos on why I was gaining weight and feeling lethargic. I read books about my problems, which surprisingly to me were not that uncommon, and I watched loads of videos. I ate more and more fruit while staring longingly at the slim bodies of those who were eating this way. I gained more weight. What was happening to me? Clearly I thought I wasn't doing something right, or I hadn't waited long enough for the lean body, clear skin, abundant energy effects to take place for me. I was certain, absolutely certain, that veganism was the only way that I should eat. I spent years turning down pieces of birthday cake and pizza while eating a wilty restaurant salad. However, I was determined that I wouldn't ruin all of my hard work just because of a heavier body and a heavier mind. Oh, Laura. Just maybe a tiny voice at the back of my mind whispered, this way of life isn't right for your body. I ignored her, my inner guidance, for a long time. That was not an act of self-love. What I thought of as being loyal to my value system, I had, as it turns out, become vegan primarily for the animals and the environment, despite the fact that it had turned into some twisted must-lose-weight body image issue, was really ignoring my inner truth. Eventually, living alone in California, thousands of miles away from my family and friends, I read a book that really started to bring these thoughts forward into my daily consciousness. The book was called Breaking Vegan by Jordan Younger, who herself was a former vegan activist. Former vegan activist. Such a thing existed. A switch was finally flipped. There were several problems with admitting that veganism wasn't right for me. Most problematic was the fact that I had ingrained veganism into both my value system and my identity. Realizing that something that you strongly believe in may not actually be your truth is frightening, vulnerable, deeply unsettling. It throws your whole inner compass off balance as you are forced to confront the fact that other facets of what you consider to be your unalterable set of personal morals also may not be set in stone and may in fact be wrong. Holy hell, this can be terrifying. What else was I wrong about? More importantly, who am I? This becomes the sudden open-ended question. For me, this led to a huge self-reevaluation. These are good and even necessary, but also alarming as all get out. Then there's the ego component. Hard as we may try, ethical vegans, people who are vegan for the animals and the environment, not just because it's a fad diet, must, by the very nature of this being an ethical issue for them, consider themselves to be living a better lifestyle than non-vegans. This often unintentional sense of superiority gets pulled out from under you if you decide to abandon veganism. For me, it was extremely embarrassing to admit to my friends, my family, and my casual acquaintances that yes, I did actually get off my high horse, and yes, I would like a piece of their egg and butter-filled birthday cake, please. Ultimately, I want to be as loving and joy-filled and light-emitting of a person as I can possibly be. For years, I desperately wanted veganism to give me the sparkling rainbow superpowers that many vegans effuse. But quite frankly, it contributed to my anxiety, lethargy, and weight gain, in addition to making me a tense ball of dogmatism that other people often wanted to avoid. Instead of my light being turned up, I was dimmed. This is absolutely not to say that veganism is wrong for everyone. This is also not to say that I abandoned it completely. This is only to say that I loosened my grip on the reins. Today, I consider myself to be plant-based, though I often find that labels separate us, so I consider this to be a tentative word choice. I would estimate that I eat at least 95% vegan foods. I order almond milk in my matcha lattes. I often bake with coconut oil. I never buy leather. But when someone offers me a homemade cookie, I don't turn them down anymore. When I go to a restaurant and the only vegetarian option is cooked in butter, I don't make my friends go to a different place. When we wake up late on a Sunday morning and make blueberry chocolate waffles, we use eggs. Usually I use organic, free range, that's controversial in and of itself, brown eggs, but sometimes we buy conventional white eggs. I no longer throw a hissy fit. I'm happier this way. Everyone around me is happier this way. Wholeheartedly, I believe that factory farming and the animal food production industry have reprehensible practices. Wholeheartedly, I believe that animals should not be killed for sustenance when we can get our nutritional needs met through whole plant-based foods. I understand that the dairy industry contributes to the veal industry, and I don't want to be responsible for the death of baby cows, but I also don't want to be so tense that I make myself and everyone around me miserable. I don't want to develop an eating disorder that eats away not only at my body, but at my mind. Big, important note and disclaimer, I do not believe that vegans have an eating disorder. This is only to say that with my hardcore obsessive personality, veganism was a manifestation of mine. It comes down to the fact that I would rather be loving towards myself and my family. I began my vegan journey because I truly don't want to harm animals, the planet, my body. I understand that the standard American diet contributes to global warming, to atrocities against our fellow earthlings, to clogged arteries. With this video, I am sending love to all people, regardless of your dietary choices. Each of us has a different body, a different mental state, a different background, a different set of circumstances. All of us are doing the best we can. I love veganism. I love vegans. I love the animals. I love the planet. I love you. I love myself. And right now, loving myself looks like 95%. Come to be okay with 95%. In fact, I'm proud of 95%. 95% is pretty damn good. Being conscious of the impact that you are making on other earthlings and our planet is paramount to living an aligned, fulfilling life. But darling, so is being conscious of what will make you the most balanced, loving version of yourself. For me, that's what it looks like to be not quite vegan. That's my truth, but it doesn't have to be yours. That's okay. Sending you endless love.